to Senior Break. I'm Dawn Medici with Oxford Township Parks and Recreation, and today our special guest is Becky Ridke, from our Executive Director from Michigan Senior Olympics. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here today.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I greatly appreciate it. I had received an email from one of my counterparts, and they had provided, she had provided me with information about the Michigan Senior Olympics, and I thought, wow, it would be really great to have you come on out and talk to our communities about this year's Michigan Senior Olympics. So when do the Olympics start?
Yep, so the Olympics are coming up in August. They take place at various locations throughout Southeast Michigan, kind of just depending on what the venue or what the sport is. So registration is open right now, and it closes on July 22nd.
Right.
So we're trying to encourage people to get active again. Things are starting to get somewhat back to normal. So
right.
You know, we're excited for the games to be back.
Yes, let the games begin,
Yes.
right? So tell me a little bit about what are your most popular games that you have?
Yeah, so I would say pickleball, of course.
Okay.
Everyone's been hearing a lot about pickleball. That is definitely a popular one. We also have swimming. Track and field gets over 300 athletes to attend. But then we have tons of other events like archery and cycling. We do billiards, a free throw and three-point competition, shuffleboard. So we kind of have something for everyone, really.
All right. I know from time to time we've had somebody come up to our center that wants to use our space to practice dancing.
Oh, yeah.
So I hear, is that dancing also a pretty popular?
Yep, we do have a ballroom dance competition, so that takes place at the Royal Park Hotel every year. And
oh, wow.
we get amateur and professional dancers. A lot of students will dance with their teachers.
Okay.
And it's an awesome event.
All right. Well, great. Well, and how old do you have to be to participate in the Senior Michigan Olympics?
So actually, anyone ages 50 and over is welcome to participate, and it's 50 as of the end of the year. So technically, you could be 49 and still participate in the games this summer.
Wow, that's great.
Yep.
And where will the games be held? I know you said within Southeast Michigan. But are there like key hubs or key places throughout?
Yeah, actually our main host site is Oakland University. We do our track and field, swimming, 5K, 10K, tennis, a whole bunch of events there at Oakland University. And then we have some other ones that are kind of scattered around. Our cycling is out at Waterford Hills Road Racing. And we utilize some of the different senior centers and community centers. We'll be at the Sterling Heights Community Center. So we're really all over the place.
Wow. Wow. So I'm sure you're going to have some opening ceremonies. Why don't you tell us a little bit about opening ceremonies?
Yeah, so the opening ceremony is kind of just a big kickoff event that we have every year. It's going to be on Friday, August 12th. It's at Bloomer Park in Rochester Hills, and it's open to anyone. So friends, family, anyone's welcome to come. We'll have live music, free food, there'll be vendors, we'll have inflatables and stuff for kids to do, and of course our official torch lighting ceremony.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. And so do you have master ceremonies, or do you have somebody that's going to light the torch or carry the torch? Or?
We usually have one of our athletes light the torch, and we also have a Hall of Fame coming up, so a lot of times we'll invite our Hall of Fame athletes to be the official torch lighters. So.
Oh, awesome. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So if there's a senior out there that doesn't want to participate and actually participate in the Olympics in an activity, but they want to come and watch, where do they get that information? How do they know where to go and when to go, and for what sport?
Right. So we definitely encourage people to just come out and watch the games. It's free for spectators. We also need volunteers. So if anybody is interested in volunteering or just wants to get motivated and come see what it's all about, if you go onto our website, it's michiganseniorolympics.org. You can get our schedule, you can sign up to be a volunteer, all of that information's right on there. All
right. And will any of this be televised or not? And if so, where do they go to watch it?
Yeah, none of the events are televised at this time. Hopefully ESPN picks us up in the future, but
wouldn't that be something?
That would. We do get some like TV stations, news stations that'll come out and cover some of the games, and sometimes the players will set up live feeds. I know for pickleball, some of it might be live. So.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And if somebody wanted to come and talk to you more about this, or would like to learn more, has more questions, where can they go, and or how can they call you, and what
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
happy to talk with anyone. My phone number is 248-608-0250, and we are actually located at the OPC Senior Center in Rochester. That's where our office is.
Okay.
We are a separate nonprofit organization just housed there in the building, so anyone's welcome to come and talk to me. I'd be happy to tell you all about the Senior Olympics.
All right. Well, do you have a story that maybe you can share about a previous Olympics that would be kind of entertaining to share with our communities?
Yeah, so I have been doing this now for the last 10 years as the executive director, and I mean, overall, I just want to tell people that it's amazing to see the athletes in action. And I know some people will say, well, I don't know if I'm quite ready to do the Olympics and if I'm up to that level, but we want to encourage everyone, even if you've never done the sport before, or if it's been 30 years since you've done it, to come on out and give it a try. You know, we have athletes, yes, that will train year-round, and they're all about trying to get those gold, silver, and bronze medals, but we also have people that will just come out, give it a shot, have fun. Everyone is encouraging, cheers each other on.
Right.
And then the next year you see that person come back and, you know, do even better on their time if they're running in one of the track and field events or something. But as far as different stories and athletes, I've made so many friends with tons of different athletes, and one of my favorites is we have a mother and her two children, who the children are in their 50s.
All right.
And they all come together every year at the Senior Olympics, and they compete together.
Oh,
so
wow.
you see some, you know, multi-generational things.
That's really cool.
And one of the most impressive ones, too, we had a 70-year-old woman who had started pole vaulting.
Wow.
Yes, she was in good shape, had never been a pole vaulter before, but she wanted to try it, and now she wins, you know, national championships. And
that's amazing.
It's really never too late to start doing something and to get involved. You know, and even if, you know, if you're not ready to become a pole vaulter, we do have other events such as power walk. So, you know, anyone can power walk, get out there and just do your best.
Right.
So.
All right, so when does the first activity start, and when does it end?
Yep, so normally the Senior Olympics would be held during like a week and a half long period, but this year we kind of have them spread out a little more, which that way we can focus more on each sport and make sure it's, you know, well run. But our first event is going to be on July 31st. It's going to be our bowling event at Bowl 1 in Troy.
Oh.
And then the majority of the events, though, are in August, kind of mid-August.
Okay.
Our track and field is August 21st at Oakland University. And then we have some other team sports that'll be taking place in September.
All right. Well, great. Well, that's a lot of information.
Yes.
Well, I want to say thank you for coming in and sharing all of this with us. And again, if you are interested in wanting more information, please reach out to Becky at 248-608-0250, or stop in at the OPC and visit her and learn more about Michigan Senior Olympics, whether you want to participate, be a spectator, or even volunteer. Well, thank you, Becky, for coming out today. And when we come back, we'll have some senior guests that have participated or are looking to participate in this year's Senior Olympics.
It's never too late to get in the games.
To me, it's the best medicine I could ever have.
The National Senior Games Association has 51 member games across the country where individuals of all abilities can participate in sports for a lifetime.
Just think, what if we didn't have local TV and radio? Where would I go for local sports, local politics, a mayor, city council, stuff that affects me every day? How about health? Who's covering things that endanger my family? I need to know now, as it happens, from sources I trust, people in my community. No agenda, no bias like you find on cable and social media. Just facts. For news I can trust, I stay local. Support your local station. Text TV to 52886 today.
Welcome back to Senior Break. once again, I'd like to thank Becky Ridke from Michigan Senior Olympics for joining us. And as I promised, we have a special guest, one of the athletes from that has participated in Michigan Senior Olympics, Charlie Siracusa. And I also have Teri Stiles from Oxford Community Television sitting in for Marie May with me in this segment. So welcome, Charlie, and welcome, Teri.
Great to be here. Thank you. Yeah, it's really good to be here.
Yeah, it's
So-
nice to have you here.
Yes. Well, I'm really excited to hear about your story. Becky said that you have been a faithful participant in the Michigan Senior Olympics and in tennis in the triathlon. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started?
Sure, I'd love to. So a friend of mine from Northville, where I live, Bob Damesworth, let me know back in 2006 that there were these senior games here in Michigan. And having moved here in 2001 from New York City, I never heard anything about it. So I decided in 2007 to participate in the tennis tournament here in Michigan, and was fortunate enough to do okay. So once I got the bug for the competition, and beyond the competition, I just want you to know how important it is that we establish these relationships so quickly,
Right.
because we are a special group.
Yes.
By definition, being seniors, right? And we're out there doing things that that we choose to do because we've worked really hard at it. So I started in 2007 with tennis, and then 2008, 2009, tennis again. And then I got the triathlon bug around the 2012 mark and did the triathlon. And then I got the track.
How did you get that bug? Did you
Yeah.
watch other people, or were you speaking to other people about it, or did you start working out in the meantime? How did that happen?
Great question. Well, I always wanted to do a triathlon.
Oh,
Teri.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only problem was I didn't know how to swim.
Oh,
So at
interesting.
the age of 58, I went to Lifetime Fitness in Canton.
My goodness.
And I thought that one length of the pool would be a breeze. So I got about 5 feet down the lane, and I got a little claustrophobic, couldn't breathe.
Wow.
Fight or flight kicked in,
challenge, yeah.
and then I met this one lady on the bench. Mildred was 76 years old, and she said, "I see that you're struggling, but I have some tips." So she gave me a pull buoy and some fins, and I practiced, and I did my first indoor triathlon in 2011.
Wow.
And then that led to doing the triathlon with the Senior Olympics.
And so tell me, what is the triathlon? What does that
Yeah.
entail?
Yeah, it's 3 disciplines. So
Okay.
it's a swim, bike, run event.
Okay.
It's a 400-meter swim. It's a 20K bike and a 5K run.
Wow.
So how did you do on your first time? What did you have to do to train for that?
Did a lot of swimming, a lot more than I ever thought I would. But it was a great experience, and I did okay. You know, it was the transitions between getting out of the pool and then getting on the bike. No matter how many times you rehearse,
Right.
putting on dry socks on wet feet. It truly is never easy to do, right? And then when
Never would've thought of that.
and then when you transition off the bike and get into the run, if you've ever seen pasta that comes out of the pot and just collapses, that's how your legs feel. But it was a great event, and again met many different people, which then allowed me to use that platform and participate in my first Ironman event down in Sandusky, Ohio in 2012.
What does that entail? You're talking to a novice
Yeah,
here.
so that's
How
a
does that
2.4-mile swim. It's a 112-mile bike, and it's a 26.2-mile run. Yeah, I had some trouble in the water, so I was a DNF for the event, but continued to do the distances in spite of that.
Okay.
So how do you practice for that? That's got to be an all-year thing.
It's a 9-month program.
And then you have a personal coach?
Yeah, we had a coach at Lifetime Fitness with a group of 45 inspiring individuals who were not seniors. I happened to be the most senior of the group. And at that time I was working for Carhartt, so we got to sponsor the event sponsor the team with hooded sweatshirts with Lifetime Fitness on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a great experience for sure, and has set me up to stay that disciplined all along the way through my different all of my different activities.
And that was what year did you?
That was 2012.
Okay.
But what you need to know, and I'll speak to the audience right now, that if you are going to embark on a fitness program, you need to write it down. You need to write down what you do and when you do it. And I've been doing that since 1978.
Wow.
So you think about the math, that's 32 and 22. That's 54, 32 and 22. That's 50 plus years of writing down everything that I've done. And I'll be 70 years old in October.
Wow.
So thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, blessed, very blessed.
Yeah.
A lot of family support, lots of great friends along the way. And the Senior Olympics is key to that.
Right.
It's key to that continuation of those relationships to just grow and grow.
So speaking of that, so yes, you have to train throughout the year. Do you train with those people? Do you stay connected?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Who are you accountable besides yourself?
Right.
To?
It's interesting because it becomes this tribe of overachievers that all are very
Competitive?
very competitive
Okay.
and double A personalities, if I can be humble enough to say that.
Yeah.
So we're all checking on each other depending on what activities you're doing, for sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and then I had never thrown the shot put in my life in high school and or college, so I decided one year at the Senior Olympics, because of all of the different people that you meet, Charlie, why don't you try a field event? What field event have you never done?
Right.
I said, I've never done a shot put. So I went out and bought a 12-pound shot put and threw the shot put, and I think it was 2014, and I won a bronze medal.
No.
Wow.
I was
that's
clearly the smallest one of the bunch and didn't know how to put all of that powder or talc on your chin and didn't throw it very far, but I threw it far enough to eclipse a few people.
So what's next?
Well, it's now morphed very much into meditation and yoga, which are extremely important to the overall fitness. Cycling is uber important. I have a triathlon bike in my basement on a trainer that allows me to mimic different Ironman courses from around the world.
Oh, that's cool.
So you know what it does, Dawn? It allows you to see, it gives you the resistance of hills,
Right.
but being safe
and,
within your...
And being able to see it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's a lot of that. It's a daily
Discipline.
passion of mine,
Right.
for sure.
So how much time do you put into it daily?
So interestingly enough, I put a lot of time into stretching, and it's probably close to 40 to 45 minutes a day.
Yeah, stretching's
Wow.
very
Everything from a
important.
foam roller
Right.
to a yoga mat to different exercises on the mat, where, again, speaking to the audience, stretching isn't anything that you can rush. But typically when you see people stretching, what are they doing? They're stretching for 15 seconds and then they're going to go run
Right.
a marathon. Well, as you get older as a senior Olympian and participant in athletic events, you really need to devote the time to that.
Yeah.
You could get terribly injured.
Absolutely.
I want to find out before we go, or after we come back, I want to find out how you learned how to do that as well.
Sure,
Yep.
absolutely.
And I
Especially
want
for
to
seniors.
also hear about how many medals you have.
Yeah, well,
So-
thank you. I would be happy to talk
Yeah.
about that.
All right, well, we'll be right back.
Every year, distracted drivers are responsible for nearly 2.5 million car crashes. The National Safety Council reports cell phone use while driving leads to 1.6 million crashes. The NSC reports 1 out of every 4 car accidents in the United States is caused by texting and driving. Texting or reading text takes your eyes off the road for at least 5 seconds.
How you doing, ma'am?
So if you were traveling at 55 miles per hour, you're essentially driving the length of an entire football field blindfolded. Once a driver has been distracted, it takes only 3 seconds for a car crash to occur.
Welcome back to Senior Break. Before break, we were talking about yoga and stretching and how important it is to be on target with that, so that you can perform accurately.
Absolutely.
So
Injury, right.
yeah, and prevent injury. So
Absolutely right.
So Charlie, tell us a little bit about how your routine is for
Sure.
stretching and yoga, and why.
Absolutely. So as part of the Lifetime Fitness Ironman team, we had a yoga coach, and her name was Julie Cook, and an absolutely life-changing coach in the disciplines that she taught us about yoga. In fact, she opened up her own yoga studio in Northville called Empower Yoga. And what she did for us, she gave the triathletes the 9 most important stretches to do for all of the areas of the body that are most affected, which are mostly, Teri, the lower extremities. So it's the hip, it's the calf, it's the quads, it's the hamstrings, and it's the feet. So she gave us a series of 9 poses to do that you can, it's a 3 minutes for each pose that you do in, you rest for a minute and then you do it for 2. So in 27 minutes you can do a routine that feels really good, and you can do it anywhere. Even through my travels from my work sometimes, I do it in my hotel room, and if I get so inspired, I turn the heat up to 90, so it's like doing hot yoga in my room.
Exactly.
But it keeps you nice and limber and allows you to
Sure.
stay, I don't like to use the I word for injury, but it allows you to stay clear of those I word
Avoid
things.
that.
Yes.
To avoid, exactly. It's an avoidance thing. It's prevention.
Right.
And without her, I would have never known the joy of yoga and what it really does for your mind, your body, and your spirit.
Yeah.
It's a very big deal for me.
Yeah.
It is all encompassing.
Oh,
that's for sure.
it absolutely is.
Yeah.
No question
So
about it.
how many events have you done, number one, and you've also done marathons?
I have.
But your events, and you've won medals in your events.
Yeah, thank you. So 3 New York City marathons starting in 1978. And then the events here with Michigan Senior Olympics, which is near and dear to my heart, that this is now my home here in Michigan for 20 years with my family. So it's been tennis, it's been track and field, 200 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters. It's been shot put, it's been triathlon. And there's so many other activities. And for your audience out there who know nothing about Senior Olympics, I would suggest to you that whether you are a ballroom dancer or a pickleball player, there's something for you.
Right.
I was going to say, if
Oh.
somebody wants to start out,
Absolutely.
where's a good place to start?
Start with
Watching it, number one.
Yeah,
right?
come and see us at
Right.
Oakland University. That's number one.
Yeah.
And you can't help but be inspired.
Right.
And then number 2, they have a 1,500 meter race walk, or they have a 5K cycling event, or they have swimming, or they have all sorts of events that you can imagine, from basketball, again, to ballroom dancing and everything in between. So regardless of your capabilities, it has nothing to do with the medals. What it has to do with is being part of a community that says, we can do it, while others are saying, no, you can't.
Right.
Yes.
So you just become even more dopamine driven because you are doing what others don't normally see people doing who are senior citizens.
Right.
And so you were speaking about any all-time fitness, right? Not any
Lifetime.
Lifetime.
fitness.
Sure.
So is there a good place for them to start? They should go to their local gym and maybe...
For me, it's been life-changing because when I grew up in New York City, there wasn't really access to that, and I was never really a gym person till I moved down here to Michigan, because Lifetime was open 24 hours a day.
Right.
So I have a habit of waking up at 3:53 a.m. every morning and getting to the gym by 4:30, or now downstairs to my bike or my yoga mat. So knowing that whenever I got up, there was a place for me to go.
Right.
And they were so inviting in terms of all of the activities that they offer, and it's been life-changing for me as well to be part of that Lifetime Fitness community.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
And so can we talk a little bit about your medals?
Sure. Again, blessings all around, right? To be part of a community that allows you to be honored by providing you with medals. So I think I have 14 or so medals over the 15 years that I've been participating. And the wonderful thing about what Becky Ridke and the Michigan Senior Olympics do is that they give you the opportunity every other year, I believe it's every other year, to qualify for the national games.
Okay.
Which allows you to compete against all of the other states in the country in a specific event that you're taking place in.
Right.
And it usually means that you have to finish first, second, third, or fourth, depending on the activity,
Right.
to get invited to the nationals. So I've been fortunate enough to. Am I answering your question? I hope
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Oh,
you
okay.
are. Yes.
I was fortunate enough to
Exactly.
go to the nationals, my first one in 2011, which was the 10th anniversary of 9/11.
Right.
And I dedicated those games to the individual who taught me the joy of tennis in 1985. His name was Charlie Casper, God rest his soul. And I dedicated the tournament to him. And based on Senior Olympics finding out about it, the Houston Chronicle did a story on it, and I was
Wow.
able to send that story to Laureen Casper, who was giving a speech on the 10th anniversary of 9/11 down at Ground Zero.
Wow.
Because he passed away in 9/11.
He did. He passed away. He was off that day, but went in to help his fireman colleagues. He was a battalion chief on the rescue boats in New York Harbor, and I was able to send those
The video, not
the video, the article to
Cool.
her, and she used that as an example of, even in his death, Charlie was still spreading his word
Right.
of determination about tennis through others.
and
Right.
still encouraging.
Yeah,
somebody
for
to
sure.
win.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a big
In
deal.
life.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
and I just came back
Great story.
last month from the Nationals again
Okay.
in Plantation, Florida, and played tennis in the 70 to 74-year-old age group. I didn't fare as well as I would have liked to, but again, just being there is, for me,
Right.
was
What an-
feeling really...
An honor.
Yes.
An
An
honor.
honor to yourself, because you're the one that put yourself there.
Right.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
your determination.
Right. Your
It's a-
time and the effort.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, and this year again is a qualifying year because of COVID. We've skipped one
Okay.
gone. So this year I'm playing in the men's singles on August 19th at Oakland University. So if you're in the area and you like to see some great tennis, come out and see us play.
Right.
But also you can look us up on the Michigan Senior Olympic website,
Right.
and there are different venues all over the state that I promise you, that if you go just and as a bystander and seeing it, you'll want to do it,
Right.
Yeah.
regardless of, again, capabilities. Just
And
get out there and do it.
What age groups? You talked about 90-year-olds.
Oh, sure.
But how senior do you have to be?
You start at 50,
At
50 years old. Becky and the Michigan Senior Olympics and the Senior Olympics from around the country
she
invite you
talked
into
about
their
that, right.
into their group, and you can participate in a host of events of your choosing.
Right.
And so the nationals, are they always in the same place?
No, they rotate. So next
Okay.
year it will be in Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice.
This past year it was in Florida. I think the year before that it was in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
okay. Fun.
So they move it
So you
around
get
a
to-
lot. And the interesting thing is you get to see people not only from Michigan, but to get to meet people from around the country.
right.
You exchange,
Sure.
names with, phone numbers, emails. so-
Like-minded.
yeah, for sure.
Right.
So you want to, improve your circle of friends who have
Right.
like-mindedness, just like you said, Terry. So
Well, thank you, Charlie,
You're
for
welcome.
coming out today and sharing your story. And maybe after this fall, we can have you back and you can share your experience this year
That'd be
with
great.
Michigan Senior Olympics. And maybe you can bring a friend along.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Be my pleasure.
Yes. So, well, thank you, Terry, and thank you,
welcome.
Charlie,
You're
for
welcome.
joining me today. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.